so after that year in Atlanta and a year traveling in Europe by myself, and during which I was aware, and this is the last time you'll be a tourist. I felt, after this you'll be under assignment. Then what happened? Well, the adventures started, in Chicago. That was 67, and was it April 68, the Martin Luther King, and so on. So that was quite an adventure to look around and see fire out your window on 3 sides. I was living in the front of Faculty West, the courtyard side of Faculty West. I think I had just about a couple of weeks before that, I had thought, no, this is not for me, I'm going to leave. And I went on some sort of a trip, and Kayat said, don't make your decision when you're out of the context. Anyhow, I went, and then I came back, and then there was all that, the Martin Luther King's death and the riots and all. So then, well, I think the next thing, summer 68, summer 68 happened, and I was teaching at Erickson School, first grade. I wasn't trained to teach first grade, though I had done it for a year in the mountain school. I was in the Teachers Guild, where we had all our plans to change the world, but I was always a bit anguished that with all those plans to change the world, I was really doing a horrible job with the first graders, and I really felt the burden of that, because with first graders, that's much more important than university teaching, But I did it. Those years in Chicago were terrifically important. Though it was a very short time to be in Chicago, but being in that large group was quite a different thing from being in the smaller houses, wasn't it? So it was important. Then Montreal was next, a year in Montreal, then a few months in Toronto, and then back to base, we called it, didn't we? Back to base, waiting to go to India, where they wanted, I think the idea was to have somebody with a Cambridge degree would help you get a better funding, or they anyhow would somehow help. But anyhow, we didn't go to India then. And then the next summer was when we had, I guess, all those, it was many academies in the summer, and that's when Desmond arrived on the scene. And I was very attracted to him, and he was vaguely interested, I think. And we took a trip back to Ozone, and he was going to Atlanta, and I went to Ozone together. And I remember I didn't know what we'd talk about on this long trip, So we did some kind of workshop on the I'm embarrassed to say this, but this was long ago. What were we doing, the New Religious Mode or one of those things, and had the charts, and so we discussed the chart all the way, driving down from Chicago to Tennessee. And then after that nice trip together, we had a good time on that trip down. Then he went on to Atlanta, and then we independently got back to Chicago, and I hardly saw him for the next year. I mean, in meetings and stuff, but that was it basically, until in August of the following year, August of '70, we decided to get married. So there we are, and then